Lord Stern is the author of a landmark review on the economics of climate change. He told a meeting of Commonwealth MPs the greatest challenges of the 21st century were combating global warming and overcoming world poverty.
If we fail to manage climate change, we will so undermine the physical environment as to make development almost impossible. Indeed, we would see extended conflict and decline in standards across the world. If, on the other hand, we try to manage climate change in a way that places an obstacle to rising living standards in the developing world over the next 2 or 3 decades, we will fail to put together the coalition which is absolutely essential to fighting climate change. And we will deserve to fail because we do not have to place obstacles in the way of economic development in order to manage climate change. So we have to see the management of climate change and overcoming world poverty as challenges which we have to take on together.
The former UK government advisor said failing to reduce greenhouse gases would be disastrous.
If the snows melt on the Himalayas, and the glaciers have been retreating quite rapidly, the rivers which serve countries containing populations of 3 billion would be redrawn. The North Indian monsoon would be redrawn. The western part of southern Africa would probably become even more strongly desertified than it is now. Southern Europe would start to look like the Sahara Desert. We can't be absolutely certain of all these changes, but we can be certain that they would be very big indeed.
Lord Stern said developing nations had a vital role in securing agreement at the Copenhagen Climate Change Summit in December.
The rich world's responsible for something like 60–65%, with just that 1 billion people, of the concentrations in the atmosphere now. This is a deeply inequitable story. The challenge is that to the rich world is to take measures to try to redress some of that, to put a lot of support into the actions and supporting the actions of the developing world, but it's going to be all of us that have to act. We cannot get there. We cannot get there unless the developing world is in the lead. And I think that the 8 billion out of the 9 billion people, those countries, in 2050, those countries have to be in the lead in shaping the agreements. Not for the rich world to say, it looks like this, you've got to come in. The other way around. The developing world to say, this is what the agreement looks like. Rich world, this is your responsibility. And I think we'd have much more dynamic negotiations if that took place.
Lord Stern said the prospects of a new global deal were improving, but success was far from guaranteed.